The week before leaving for China, I had $5 in my bank account. It was insane because heart palpitation, like
Oh my
everything,
gosh.
everything. Like I was not sleeping. I laid down. It's beyond me now. And I woke up from an email from Gilman saying that I have received that scholarship. And I
Girl.
was like,
Welcome to another episode of The New College Mindset. Y'all, this episode is good. I'm your host, Jerica. My mission is to help you, a first or second generation college student, successfully navigate your college experience. Today, we have a conversation with Victoria Bien-Ami, a graduate of Florida State University and a recipient of the prestigious Gilman Scholarship, which paid for her travel and study in China. If you've ever wondered how you can afford to travel overseas while in college, I got you. This is your episode. Welcome, Victoria, to the show.
hey,
How are you
Jerica,
today?
thank you for having me. I'm great. How are you?
I am doing well. Victoria and I were talking a little bit earlier. Her cats might make a cameo appearance. So if that's okay, totally cool. I was just like, invite them to the party. They need to come hear about this. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you studied in college?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Victoria. I studied Mandarin Chinese and business management for undergrad. And then for grad school, I got my MBA concentrating in supply chain management and logistics. And I think my favorite memory about college or my favorite experience, I think has to be the diversity, equity, and inclusion class. And the professor said something to me that I still say to myself to this day. Now that you're here at this university, you need to remind yourself, like, you have been afforded this great opportunity and you're with these kids who have parents that come from a lot of money, and you have to remind yourself you can either party now and pay for it later, or you can put the hard work in now and party at a different level. And I took that to heart, and now I'm partying at the other level. And
That is
yeah,
such
that's
great
something that
advice.
stuck with
Yeah, because
me.
there's a lot of partying happening, and I like how he didn't say you don't get to party at all. It's just like you can still
Yeah.
party. We like to party. You want to party now. You want to party later. I want to take you back a little bit to why Mandarin for you. When did you first hear it for the
hmm
first time? And when did you say, you know what, this is something I want to study?
Well, I actually get that question a lot. And so my answer to that is, so growing up, I had a role model in my life who was very influential, and she passed away my senior year of high school.
Mm,
And growing up, I remember her telling me and like encouraging me to learn about like different cultures and different languages, and to like always be open-minded, to like continue reading and to continue pushing myself. And she really gave me that motivation because there was not anyone for me to look up to that looked like me. And when she passed away, I really took that to heart, and I was like, I want to do something in remembrance of her. I want to do something that she would be proud of. And I saw a poster that said like, are you willing to learn Mandarin like Chinese, learn today? And I was like, this is something, her name was Judy. I was like, this
yeah.
is something that Judy would be proud of. This is something that she would be like really happy for me about. So I'm going to do it. I think this would make Judy proud. And that's why I started learning Mandarin.
Man, was there ever a moment when you were just like, Chinese Mandarin, this is too much? This is
Yeah.
was it outside of it being all the time, but like, what was the
Yeah.
first time that like hit you and you were like, what did you tell yourself to motivate yourself to keep on?
So I've always been one of those students that I was always in like AP classes, honors
Hmm.
classes, like dual enrollment, like
Uh-huh.
doing X, Y, and Z, always like trying to fight to prove myself, you
Hmm.
know? But it came with ease because I'd been doing it for such a long time. And college is such a rude awakening
Hmm.
because in those classes, everyone is a AP student.
Hmm.
Everyone did dual enrollment. Like
Hmm.
you're competing with the best of the best, you know? So there was a time in my business Chinese class, like it was level 3 business Chinese, like junior year, fall semester.
Hmm.
And I had an amazing professor, and this was our first exam. And I'm like, I like everything had come with ease. Like I only had to study for a couple hours. I'm like,
Hmm.
like this will be fine. Whew, that exam made me question everything.
Hmm.
after I got my test result back from that exam, the lowest grade I'd ever gotten in my life,
Mm.
I was I went to the professor and I was in tears and
Mhm.
I was like, what am I not understanding? Like, can you please help me work through this? Like, this
Mhm.
is something that I'm passionate about. I want to
Mhm.
implement this. Like, what can I do to improve?
Mhm.
And so I was going to office hours twice a week. I was
Wow.
like getting my homework done way in advance.
Mhm.
I like stopped going to social events. Like, it was a decision. I had to be
Mm.
real with myself, you know? And it came to a point where I'm like, am I going to have this
Mhm.
and say
Mhm.
I did it and like get passed by with the C, or am I going to put my all in it
Mm.
and see how far I can go? And that was something I did struggle with because you're young, you want to party, you want to hang out with your friends,
Yeah.
you want to go to the you know what I mean? You want to
Yeah.
be a part of it all.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a sacrifice that I made, but I'm happy I made that sacrifice because I ended up finishing that semester with an A. And then later
Man.
on, she wrote me recommendation letters for like different
Look at
universities and
this.
things.
Look at this. Look
Yeah.
at this.
Yeah.
You didn't just stop. You were just like, you know what? Let me show you. Hold my bag. So you got to Florida State University, and did you immediately know, hey, I want to go study abroad in China? Was that like from the get go when you jumped?
No.
Okay. So walk us through that process of how did you.
Absolutely. So the program I was in at FSU has changed my life significantly. Like I just got chills. Like
Mhm.
the work that he does and that team does is phenomenal.
Hmm.
I want to start off by telling him thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Stark.
Dr. Stark, we are shouting you out on this
and
on the new college mindset.
and so with that program, every Wednesday or like one Wednesday a month, we had sessions just about like different aspects of college. And I knew of people like applying for Fulbright,
Uh-huh.
Gilman, Critical Language Scholarship. It always seemed so out of reach for me. And I was
Yes.
like, okay, they were
Yes.
able to do that. I don't really know them. I don't have a connection with them. I'm very happy for them, but I don't think I can have that,
Mhm.
So I was mentally always limiting myself. And it wasn't until someone in my care class got the Gilman Scholarship that like it resonated with me. And I was like, oh, I can do this too. Like
Hmm.
he was able to do it. I can apply. Maybe I should talk to him about it and see what his experience was like.
Mhm.
So we met at the library. He talked to me about his experience, and I told him like, "Hey, I'm studying Chinese. I know that they have like scholarships for that and opportunities for that. I want to see where this can take me."
So, just like your friend told you about this amazing opportunity, can you tell our listeners what is the Gilman Scholarship and who is it for?
Yeah, so it's known as the Benjamin A. Gilman Scholarship, and it's for anyone who is a citizen or a national from the United States, and you can apply via their website for the scholarship program. And to meet the criteria, you do have to be receiving the Pell Grant the time you apply, but it's for any study abroad program that's credit bearing.
Yeah, and I want to pause a little bit and talk about that limiting the things that you were saying to yourself. What things were you saying to yourself that made you believe, hey, this I can't do this? Like what types of things?
Yeah, when I was in school, I was also working a lot of the time. So
Mm-hmm.
I was, I just never seemed feasibly possible that I had the means to do that. I'm like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have that amount of money to study abroad. Like, if I don't get that scholarship and I sign up for it, what am I going to do? I'm going to be on the hook for like 10, 15 grand. And I don't know how I'm going to get this 10, 15 grand? So I was like, I better not put myself in a situation where at the end I can't come out on top. And that was a mental battle that I went through for a while. And even going through that process of applying for the scholarship, it was tumultuous. Yeah.
Hmm. How so?
70,
Tell me more. Like what what what
yeah,
what
of course.
happened?
Let me tell you all about it. So
Yes.
tumultuous in the sense because I was placing so many limits on myself that I did not
Mm.
apply for the first round. There are two rounds for the Gilman Scholarship, one in spring, or one in fall, one in spring.
Mm-hmm.
And this was summer when I decided I wanted to do the Gilman Scholarship. And I met with all the offices trying to figure out how can I actually afford to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first round of Gilman, I missed it because I was just so nervous to apply.
Hmm.
Because with that essay, there are three different parts: one about how you're going to create impact, one about
Mm-hmm.
how this opportunity is beneficial for you in your
Mm-hmm.
career, and how you
Mm-hmm.
will then create the impact in your community and society for the greater good, and then about your personal experience. And writing the academic essay was easy for me. The impact
Mm-hmm.
essay was not that difficult for me as well. But the personal statement
Hmm.
was very difficult for me. And like I mentioned earlier, after losing Judy my senior year of high school, it was just something I kept to myself, and I didn't really want to share that with anyone
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel comfortable giving that level of information to people. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't something I was comfortable with at
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it just, writing that personal statement, the first time I wrote it, it was very high level, like
Mm-hmm.
not deep. And it just, my advisor was very real with me. He's like, okay, Victoria, like this is not going to cut it. When you're ready to write about something that actually
Hmm.
moves you, you let me know. And
He was real. He was like,
he was
yeah,
real.
no, this is a mess.
Yeah. He let me know. And then that's when I had to like peel the layers back. And sometimes peeling the layers back is very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. And it's just, you need to write about something that's real and something that moves you, and it'll
Mm-hmm.
move other people. Because
Mm-hmm.
if like a decision like that has made me go after like learning Mandarin Chinese and go after like this direction in my life, it may move other people and it may inspire
Yes.
other people as well. So it's important for me to share that story because of the benefits it may have later on, even though it may be difficult for me to share at this time.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that vulnerability, I've read a lot about like not being too vulnerable but vulnerable enough, not trying to re-traumatize yourself, like in the essay writing type of
Yeah.
space. But I think you you were right to go back and be like, hey, this woman, this person that we are talking about right now on this podcast changed my life, and I need to pay homage to her
Hmm.
by writing something that also speaks to the
Yeah.
person that's reading it, because they need to pick me. I need to be selected so I can
Yeah.
continue on this dream that I have. Let's step just one step back. You're at the airport. I want you kind of to think about the version of you that was at the airport before China, and the version of you that returned when you were on that return flight. What was the difference before we start, talking more about your experience? But what was that difference? You before, you were sitting in that lounge about to go to China, and you back on that plane coming
Right.
home.
That's a really good question. I like that question. Okay. So before getting on that plane, a lot of excitement, but also very nervous. Had only practiced Mandarin in a classroom setting, in a few like coffee table chats, with the program. And I had watched YouTube videos, Black people in China, Black people in Asia, because I'm trying to like get the tea, I'm trying to make sure I
Yes,
am fully
yes.
prepared, no surprises, like trying to make sure that I'm not overwhelmed and overstimulated. That was like the main goal for
Mm-hmm,
me.
mm-hmm,
And then coming back,
mm-hmm.
my confidence was sky high, maybe a little too high. It
Hey,
was
keep it
sky
high.
high. Yeah. I was like, I know what I'm talking about. I went to school for this. I studied in
Yep.
China. Like, you know what I mean? Like the
Mm-hmm.
confidence was on a different level, and the opportunities that helped build up that confidence, I think were, you get only once in a lifetime.
How long were you there for studying?
So I was studying in Tianjin for the study abroad program for about almost 3 months.
I want to talk about your day to day while you were there in China, like what with the Gilman Scholarship. What was your
Hmm.
day to day experience?
Yeah, so in the morning, start off with breakfast, and then each day going to classes. I had about like 3 to 4 classes, or actually five, sorry, 5 classes. It was a minute ago. I don't
Yeah, yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah, about like 5 classes. And then during those classes, one about culture, one about history, another one just like advance my like speaking and reading capabilities. And the school system is definitely a little different. I think in
Hmm.
the United States, when we're going to a class and we're going to university, we are privileged with a syllabus that says, in a few days, I'm going to test you on this. This is the material that you
Mm-hmm.
need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like, you know what I mean? Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
there's like a curve, like, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
a lot more flexible in the States. In China, I did not find it to be, my experience, I did not find it to be as flexible.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot more learning time, I guess you could
Hmm.
say. I spent a lot more time in the classroom. And then after spending that time in the classroom, we spent another 3 to 4 hours learning what we had learned in the classroom again.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah. It did speed up my learning curve like tremendously. Like by the time I was leaving, I felt so confident in my speaking and reading
Mm-hmm.
capabilities, and I like had made a lot of Chinese friends, like talking to them, engaging in the culture, learning about the history. So it really was a great opportunity.
I was super excited for this interview. Number one, because you're like a Black person that was in Asia. I did the Philippines back in 2009.
Wow.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So with the Peace Corps, I did Peace Corps. And so I want to talk to you about your, like, how was it being a Black woman in China? I always like to call it being camera ready, ready for
Yeah.
the pictures, ready for everything, how was your experience being a Black woman in China? Um,
That's a loaded question.
I know. Okay, so maybe I don't know how to break it down. Tell me what you would like to tell me. Let's go like that.
Yeah, I'll be fully transparent with you. So being a Black woman in China felt like being a celebrity without the pay. That's
Hmm.
like the best way I can put it.
I can see that.
Um, Definitely, you got to be camera ready all the
Hmm.
time. And if you're not camera ready, pictures will still be taken of you. So, like,
You will look a mess.
like you will look a mess, and you will be on somebody's like WeChat, maybe. Like,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what you're going to be on, but you're going to be on something,
Uh huh. Uh huh. Uh huh.
Um, a lot of I had braids at the time,
Hmm.
and a lot of people were very interested in my braids, and I think it came from more curiosity
Hmm.
than like, because you do get like people gawking at you, looking at you,
Yeah.
asking questions, wanting to
Hmm.
talk to you. And when you're there for an extended amount of time, like the first few weeks, it's like, oh my gosh, people want to talk to me. It's very lovely the
Hmm.
first few days, then that wears off very quickly. And when you're there for a couple months, it's like, okay, I just want to go to the store without
Hmm.
people trying to take pictures of me or try
Hmm.
to touch my hair, or
Hmm.
you know what I mean? It just becomes very arduous
Hmm.
at the end.
Is there anything else that you would say is pretty tricky with applying to the Gilman that advice that you would give to a student that's applying, and how you overcame that?
Definitely. One thing that I would recommend when it comes to applying to Gilman, Fulbright,
Hmm.
CLS, or any of those IIE, I think it is, all of
Hmm.
those scholarships that they have that are government funded,
Hmm.
I would recommend reaching out via LinkedIn or anyone who's gone to university that has
Hmm.
either applied for that scholarship or gone through the process and has received that scholarship. Because there's so much that they have learned going through that process, or things that they wish that they would have done better.
Hmm.
Like, personally speaking, I wish I would have applied both fall and spring that
Hmm.
way. Like, luckily I did get it in spring, but I wish I would have done it earlier. That
Hmm.
way I wouldn't have been in a scramble like the literally the week before I was leaving for China. That
Yeah.
was definitely a scramble.
Yeah. I heard, I was listening to one of your other, Victoria is very popular. She's been on other platforms, but you were just like, you had $5.
Yeah.
Like, okay, share that story, because I think our listeners would find that very interesting.
Yeah. This was a really crazy time in my life. So, junior year, it's spring semester. I have submitted my Gilman scholarship. I've submitted that one. I applied for CLS, and I applied for an additional grant. I got denied from CLS and from
Hmm.
the additional grant, but I had not heard back from Gilman yet. And I had already I had saved up to buy my ticket to China, my flight ticket to China. And I
Hmm.
was like so excited. Professors were excited, signed up for the classes, did the orientation, everything. And the week before leaving for China, I had $5 in my bank account. And it was insane because heart palpitation, like everything. Like I was not sleeping. I was
Oh,
stressed.
oh.
I was like, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. And this was literally the day before I had to drive back home to pack to get to the airport. And I only had $5 in my bank account. I was like, you know what? This is beyond me. Like,
Mhm.
if it's for me, it's for me and it'll be mine. And if it's not for me, that's okay because there's something better in store for me. And that's what I had to
Yes.
tell myself because I wasn't sleeping for weeks. And I laid down, I took that nap, and I was like, it's beyond me now. And I woke up from an email. I woke up to an email from Gilman saying that I have received that scholarship. And I
Girl.
was like, yeah.
What was that feeling like? Like, tell me that feeling, and who did you tell first that you got it?
Oh, I called my mom because my mom had a lot of conversations with me. She's like, "Sweetie, I love you, but that's not happening." She's like, "You can come home, you can stay here for the summer, but you cannot go to China with $5, and I
Hmm.
don't know what to tell you," type of thing. And it felt like elephants had been lifted off of my shoulders. Like it
Mm.
was just an ethereal experience, but just that's why I say apply early and don't be in that situation. Like, please, there are 2 cycles. Apply fall, don't get fall. I think you can apply again in spring and
Hmm.
don't be stuck with $5 before you go to China.
Yes, yes, please,
My two
guys.
cents.
Exactly. Before we go, any other advice that you would give, any other encouragement you would give to our first and second gen students that are listening to the show today, Victoria?
Um, I would say that the world is yours. Be who you are. Don't change for anyone. Your experience is valid. Your opportunities, they're there for you. You can do anything you want. You don't have to fit this perfect mold. And don't accept these labels that people throw on you. You are who you are, and you're beautiful, and you are wonderfully made. And the world is yours. Go for it. You can do anything. And that's something that I just want to remind people of on a day to day basis. Like, you can do anything. Don't stop yourself. Like, don't ever limit yourself.
I think that's really, really great encouragement, Victoria. And thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming on the show, for sharing your experience with our students here at the New College Mindset. If people want to get in touch with you, can they reach out on LinkedIn or what's the best
Yeah.
place? I know you got other channels, so, I want to make sure they get a shout out.
Definitely. Yeah. So LinkedIn is the best place. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. You can message me, anything like that. Connect with me. I'd be more than happy to chat, do a virtual coffee chat.
Victoria, thank you so much for coming on the show. And hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was great speaking with you.